Jamaica was the Caribbean's largest slave market. The British imported into Jamaica 1.3 million Africans. At the end of slavery in 1838, there were 300,000 remaining. The question has to be asked then, how do you reduce 1.3 million people to 300,000 after 200 years? Less than 25% survival. Slavery in Jamaica was genocidal.
What if I told you that one of the richest countries on earth built its wealth on Jamaica and then walked away without apologizing? What if I told you that when slavery officially ended, the slave owners were paid, but the enslaved people got nothing? And what if I told you that the money Britain paid to slave owners was still being paid off as recently as 2015, while Jamaica is still dealing with poverty, debt, and inequality today? This is not ancient history. It's not emotional storytelling. This is documented fact. Today, Jamaica, along with other Caribbean and Commonwealth nations, is demanding reparations from the United Kingdom. Not charity, not aid, but justice. That's why I want us to watch these videos I've compiled here. Then I'll be back with more reactions and commentary. Thank you very much.
When the British Prime Minister, Mr. Cameron, visited Jamaica, he did not wish to speak of the colonial past. Britain had taken Jamaica from the Spanish in 1655 and had ruled Jamaica until 1962, when Jamaica forcefully demanded its independence. And so he said, there will be no apology for slavery, there will be no conversation about reparatory justice. The French president, Mr. Hollande, had also visited a Caribbean colony in Guadeloupe. He too said, there will be no apology for slavery, and there will be no reparations. But he was in Guadeloupe to open a multi-million euro museum dedicated to slavery as a gift from the people of France, so that the African community in the French islands could see the horror of slavery displayed in their museum. He went on to add that France owes the people of the Caribbean a debt of gratitude. But this gratitude would not be expressed in either an apology or in any form of reparatory justice. All of this came against the background of what had transpired in 2001, when President Aristide of Haiti demanded the return of the 150 million francs that France had insisted that Haiti pay for their own self-liberation. You may recall that Haiti had fought a war of liberation, declared their independence on the 1st of January 1804. The Haitians were the first people on this planet to give Napoleon Bonaparte a whipping. And in return for this whipping, France insists that if the Haitians wish to be recognized as an independent nation state, they will have to pay compensation to their former enslavers. 1825, the Haitians are celebrating the 21st anniversary of their independence. France had refused to recognize Haiti as an independent nation. All the slave-owning nations of the Western world, Britain, Spain, Portugal, Holland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, the United States, all said they will not recognize Haiti until the French recognize Haiti. The French said, if you want recognition, you pay for it. The Haitian people in 1825 had therefore a decision to make on their 21st anniversary. There were parties in Port-au-Prince, but there were also French gunboats in the harbor. The Haitian cabinet met and agreed that they wished to be reinserted into the international community, and this reinsertion would cost them 150 million francs, which is 21 billion US dollars in contemporary money. This money was paid, agreed to be paid, and was paid to the French government over 100 years. This extraction of economic value out of Haiti in the first 100 years of its nationhood crippled that nation. In some years in the 19th century, the payment to France in reparations accounted for 60 to 70% of the foreign exchange earnings of that nation. Aristide asks for the return of this money to the people of Haiti. He wrote to the French government to government, calling for the return of this money. The French government invaded Haiti. Aristide was overthrown and removed from office. His successor, his first public statement was that the claim for reparations and the repayment of this money was a criminal act and removed from the state. And therein was the end of that conversation.
Also discussed the issue of reparations, and I'm pleased to report that there was broad support for Jamaica moving forward with a petition to King Charles III in his capacity as Jamaica's head of state to seek a formal ruling from the Privy Council on whether the Atlantic enslavement of Africans was lawful under common law and whether local laws supporting it were invalid, and whether or not slavery as practiced in Jamaica up to 1838 constituted a crime against humanity under international law, and whether, if so, the United Kingdom bears a legal obligation to provide reparations to Jamaica and its people for the enduring harm caused.
No, but it's a fascinating comparison, isn't it? Shall we compare, I don't know, Jamaica to a country that the British never colonised, Haiti? I mean, which is richer? Which is richer?
There's a huge push for this. A lot of people working behind the scenes on this type of thing, where it comes from academics to activists to politicians to government officials,
it's all
to leaders
entirely
of these various
fictitious.
countries,
I mean,
all pushing for this
trillion.
idea of Western reparations, particularly the British.
I mean, so some islands in the Caribbean are going to get more money if this were to be approved, and of course the government doesn't want to approve it, more money than the entire Chinese economy. I mean, the UK GDP, I can't emphasise this enough, is less than £3 trillion. That's the entire UK economy. And they want reparations from us worth 19 trillion.
How many people of Caribbean heritage are living in the UK? It would be their taxes too that would have to pay for this extraordinary sum. I mean, it's just crazy.
So Prince William and Kate are visiting Jamaica today, and Jamaicans are like, nah, we don't want to see you, but we want to see that cash. Pay us what you owe. We want reparations. Reparations, you ask? Why are they asking for that? Let me break it down for you. In 1834, when Great Britain decided to abolish slavery, instead of giving some money to the enslaved people who were brutalized for hundreds of years, they said, no, those slave owners, they need to get back some money for their loss of revenue of having to free the enslaved people. So for several years, for several generations, in fact, they have been paying the descendants of slave owners up to 20 million pounds, which in today's money is 17 billion pounds. That means people living today have been benefiting from those payouts. You want to know when those payouts stopped? 2015. 2015. So if the descendants of slave owners have been getting paid to the tune of 20 billion pounds, how much do you think black people are owed?
In Jamaica, the question still echoes. Should Britain pay for slavery? Follow islands of the past for debates nations want to bury. For over 300 years, enslaved Africans in Jamaica built Britain's wealth, Sugar, rum, and labor turned a small island into the empire's richest colony. When slavery ended in 1838, Britain didn't compensate the freed people. Instead, it paid millions of pounds to the slave owners, money British taxpayers only finished repaying in 2015. The enslaved received nothing but poverty. Today, Jamaica's leaders and activists demand reparations, money, land, even formal apologies. Britain resists, saying it's too far in the past. But the scars of slavery are visible: inequality, landlessness, and generational poverty. For many, reparations aren't about cash. They're about justice, healing, and acknowledgement. If your ancestors built an empire in chains, would you demand payment or move forward? Do you think reparations can heal history or only open old wounds? Are reparations justice or fantasy? Yes or no? The reparations fight proves history doesn't disappear. Debts remain until they're paid. If you think this truth matters, comment, follow Islands of the Past, and share.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you very much for watching that video with me until the end. So, Jamaica, among many other Caribbean and Commonwealth nations, are demanding reparations from the UK. Not charity. They want justice. They don't want aid, it's justice. What's the response they get from Britain? Still no apology, no compensation. So the question is very simple. Who really owes who? To understand Jamaica's demand for reparations, you have to understand what Jamaica was to the British Empire. Jamaica was not just another colony. It was the jewel. By the 18th century, Jamaica had become the largest slave market in the Caribbean. British ships transported over 1.3 million Africans to Jamaica alone. Men, women, children. By the time slavery officially ended in 1838, only about 300,000 were still alive. That means over 1 million Africans died from brutality, overwork, disease, and starvation. This wasn't just slavery, it was genocide by economics. Sugar plantations made Britain rich. Banks, ports, factories, and insurance companies in London were built on Jamaican labor. And none of that wealth was shared. Fast forward to modern times. In 2015, British Prime Minister David Cameron visited Jamaica. What did many people expect? They expected an apology. Some expected a conversation about reparations. Instead, Cameron said Britain had already moved on. No apology, no discussion of reparations, just silence. The same thing happened in France. When French President opened a slavery museum in Guadeloupe, he acknowledged a debt of gratitude, but refused to apologize or discuss compensation. So let's be clear, European leaders admit slavery was wrong, but they refuse to take responsibility for its consequences. That contradiction is exactly why reparations are being demanded. If you want to see what injustice looks like long term, look at Haiti. In 1804, Haiti became the first black republic after defeating France. But freedom came at a price. In 1825, France forced Haiti to pay 150 million francs for the loss of enslaved people and property. The money is worth over 21 billion today. Haiti had to borrow money from French banks to pay France, creating a debt trap that lasted more than a century. In some years, 60 and 70% of Haiti's foreign income went straight to France. Schools were not built, infrastructure collapsed, development was strangled. When the president demanded the money back in the 2000s, France and its allies responded with pressure, invasion, and his removal from power. Haiti's poverty is not a mystery. It's engineered, and Jamaica took notes. Today, Jamaica is taking a historic step. The government is petitioning King Charles III, asking the Privy Council to rule on a critical question. Was Atlantic slavery lawful under British common law? And if it was not, does Britain have a legal obligation to repair the harm caused? This is not symbolic. If the court rules slavery was unlawful, it opens the door to international legal reparations. That's why this moment matters. Here's the part many people still don't know. In 1833, Britain abolished slavery. Sounds noble, right? But here's what actually happened. The British government paid 20 million euros to slave owners as compensation for their lost property. This was 40% of the entire national budget at the time. Over 46,000 British families received payouts. Former slaves, they received nothing. No land, no money, no education, no support. Worse still, they were forced into an apprenticeship system, essentially continuing to work for their former masters. Freedom without resources is not freedom. It's control with a new name. Despite all this, Britain still refuses reparations. Until that imbalance is addressed, the past is not past. So when Jamaica asks for reparations, it isn't begging. It's reminding the world of a debt that was never paid. And the question remains, how long can justice be ignored before history demands its receipts? Thank you for watching.